Have you ever experienced this? Both pedestrians make opposite choices when passing, and an embarrassing standoff or collision occurs. However, when there's a large crowd walking in different directions, this embarrassing situation seldom happens. To understand why, we have to take a look at the theory of emergence.
Emergence occurs when the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. Or in other words, how a bunch of ordinary elements do smart things together, how small things form bigger things, or how simplicity becomes complexity. Emergence is everywhere, from bird flocking and fish schooling, to the assembly of atoms and cells, to the Big Bang and the formation of galaxies, stars and planets. All these exhibit emergent behavior from individuals following simple rules without center coordination of leadership. Let's look at a classic example of emergence: ant colonies. There's no individual ant telling everyone what to do, but instead they follow a rule set that produces order through chaos. Each ant reacts to chemical scents from other ants. Thus, despite the lack of centralized decision-making, ant colonies exhibit complex behaviors and have even demonstrated the ability to solve geometric problems. Back to the example at the start of the video. Over time, there's emergence of a social norm in crowds with a mixture of individual biases. Let's explain this emergent phenomenon in a scientific manner.
This paper by Nicholas Morton and Professor Hendy investigates this phenomenon using mathematical models. The variables used were the variance of walking speed and the attentiveness of pedestrians, trying to find whether emergence will occur. Here, we have that everyone has a high variance in walking speed and was inattentive, for example, on their phones or reading a book. There's no order created, or in other words, no emergence. Next, take people who have similar walking speeds and are attentive to those around them. Then we get two neat lines of people passing each other, thus the emergence of a social norm. Now, here's an interesting scenario when groups of people change their preferences, thus changing everyone's passing side. This is all summarized in this final image. On the x-axis, we have the variance, and the y-axis, we have the attentiveness. The first scenario is in this region, the second here, and the third here. So, what does this mean? The pedestrians are trying to anticipate what others will do, and it is this that creates non-linearity that leads to emergence. A norm emerges so that pedestrians can correctly anticipate how other pedestrians will move.
Such situations may arise, for example, when people mix at a large sporting event or at train stations. Groups of humans with no external factors tend to produce order rather than meaningless chaos.
There is still a lot unknown in our universe yet to be discovered. But one thing for certain is, everything and every phenomenon, big and small, are collectively made up of a lot of individuals. This is why we have to understand the theory of emergence. It's a theory that explains everything. It is the most beautiful property of our universe.